They called the human guilty, but the relic recognized them as justice itself. Humanity had never faced anything like the Galactic Tribunal. Jack Harper stood stiffly in the wide, cold hall, surrounded by creatures from dozens of different worlds. Some had wings that stretched across the room, some had shining shells like armor, and some moved like living shadows. They all stared at the humans with eyes full of doubt and suspicion. Humanity, they said, was reckless, dangerous, and impulsive. Humanity was guilty. Jack swallowed hard and glanced at the others behind him. Lily Grant, a historian, was quietly reviewing her notes. Her brown hair fell over her face as she muttered numbers and dates under her breath. Ben Carter, an engineer, looked uneasy, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. He had helped unearth the Axiom Core, the relic that had brought humanity here, and he had seen its power. Now it sat across the hall on a pedestal, glowing faintly, almost alive. The aliens were curious about it, but they did not understand it. They only knew it was dangerous and could judge civilizations. The hall was enormous, more than a mile long, with seats stacked in tiers for the delegates. Jack could feel their eyes on him, sharp and cold. He cleared his throat and walked to the center of the hall. He had been trained to speak in front of large crowds, but this was different. This was not a speech for applause. This was a speech to save humanity from being judged as unfit for the galaxy. "Esteemed members of the tribunal," Jack began, his voice echoing softly. "We understand your concerns. Humanity has grown fast and we have made mistakes. But we are here not just as humans accused, but as humans willing to show who we are and what justice means to us." There was a ripple through the room, a mixture of curiosity and dismissal. One of the delegates, a tall figure with crystal-like skin, leaned forward and spoke in a harsh, buzzing voice. "Your words are meaningless. We do not care about promises. We care about actions. And your species has caused chaos in every system you have touched." Jack nodded. He had expected this. The aliens had prepared their case for months, gathering reports of conflicts, of planets destabilized, of mistakes humans had made. They had painted humanity as a threat to galactic order. He knew they could be convincing. But Jack also knew that humans had something other species often did not: the ability to question themselves, to fight their own mistakes, and to choose what was right even when it was hard. Lily stepped forward next. "Yes, humans have made mistakes," she said. "We have fought wars, and yes, we have caused harm, but we have also made laws to stop injustice. We have saved lives, even those of other species. We record our failures and we learn from them. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us capable of justice." There was a pause. Some delegates muttered among themselves while others seemed unmoved. One of them, a small, serpent-like creature with many eyes, hissed, "Justice? You call your wars justice? Your expansion, your greed. You speak of learning from mistakes, yet you destroy worlds and leave systems in ruin." Jack felt a surge of anger, but he forced himself to stay calm. "We are not perfect," he said, "but no species in this galaxy is. We act, we fail, and we try again. Justice is not about never failing. Justice is about doing what is right, even when it is hard, even when it costs us something." The hall was silent. Then a different voice spoke, softer this time, thoughtful. It belonged to an elder from a world made entirely of water. "Perhaps we have underestimated humans. Tell us more about your history. Show us why your species should be trusted." Lily smiled slightly. "Our history is full of struggle. We fought for equality. We fought against oppression. We have put aside power when we saw it was being misused. We have made great mistakes, but we have always tried to correct them. Our mistakes do not define us. Our choices to act justly define us." Jack could see the alien delegates shifting in their seats. Some were skeptical, some curious. He knew the tribunal would not be swayed by words alone. They wanted proof. They wanted the Axiom Core to judge humanity, and soon it would. The relic had chosen to be here, and now its power was waiting. Ben stepped forward next. "We also have witnesses," he said. "Not just humans, but aliens from other systems who have seen us act in ways that were fair and just. We have records, videos, and logs. We can show you that humans protect the weak, even when it is dangerous for us. We act for the greater good, even when it is against our own interests." One of the delegates snorted. "You think that will matter to the Axiom Core? This relic has judged countless civilizations. Many it destroyed, many it ignored. Why would it favor you?" Jack met his gaze. "Because it recognizes what we do when no one is watching. It sees the choices we make when power is offered and when fear is present. It sees justice, not perfection." The tribunal fell silent again. The room seemed to grow colder as the axiom core glowed brighter. It was a large crystal, shaped like a diamond, suspended slightly above the pedestal. It pulsed with energy, almost like a heartbeat. The aliens leaned forward, waiting for it to speak. No one knew exactly how it worked. Some said it could read the heart of a species. Others said it could see the threads of time and judge a civilization based on their potential. Jack knew what it would see. He had been there when Ben first activated it on Earth. It had not moved when they tested it, but it had reacted to humanity. It had acknowledged their sense of fairness, their tendency to act with moral courage, their ability to change for the better. And now it would judge before the tribunal. A hush fell over the hall as the relic began to glow brighter. Its light was soft at first, then stronger, filling the room with an almost unbearable intensity. Some delegates covered their eyes. Jack stood firm, feeling the warmth of its recognition. The axiom core did not speak in words. It spoke in images, in feelings, in truths that no one could hide. Jack saw visions of humans throughout history, of people rising against injustice, even when it was dangerous. He saw the abolition of slavery, the fights for equality, the countless acts of kindness towards strangers and aliens alike. He saw humans defending the helpless, protecting life at great personal risk. He saw mistakes too, but the mistakes were always followed by attempts to make things right. The core was showing them what humanity had always tried to be. Lily gasped softly, watching the same images. Ben clenched his fists, fighting back tears. The aliens were quiet, unsure what they were seeing. Some looked away, uncomfortable with the undeniable truth of human compassion and resilience. Others leaned closer, fascinated despite themselves. Finally, a voice broke the silence. It was low, trembling slightly. This is not what we expected." It came from a delegate with rough, stone-like skin. "We thought the humans would be reckless, cruel, unfit, yet the relic shows justice, courage, care for others. How can this be?" Jack nodded. "It is because we are human, we are flawed. We make mistakes, but we do not stop trying. That is what the relic recognizes. That is what you must understand." The tribunal murmured among themselves. Some delegates argued, pointing at past incidents where humans had caused destruction. Others stayed silent, looking at the glowing relic with a mix of awe and fear. Jack could feel the weight of the moment. The fate of his species rested on this judgment, on this recognition of what humans were capable of when they chose justice over fear, morality over power. The session ended with no verdict yet. The aliens would deliberate, but for the first time, humans were no longer seen merely as reckless newcomers. They were seen as a species that could be trusted to act with fairness, even when it cost them. Jack felt a small spark of hope. This was only the beginning. The real test was still ahead. As the humans left the hall, Jack looked back at the glowing relic. It pulsed gently, almost like it was alive, almost like it was waiting for something more. He felt a strange sense of calm. The core had recognized something in them that the galaxy had not. It had recognized justice. Lily touched his arm. "We did what we could," she said softly. "Now the rest is up to them and the core." Ben stayed behind for a moment, staring at the pedestal. "It knows us," he whispered. "Not as perfect, not as innocent, but as capable of justice. That is all we can ask." The humans walked out into the corridor, their steps echoing against the metal walls. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant, but they no longer seemed threatening. For the first time in the tribunal, humanity had a chance. A small chance, but a real one. And sometimes that was enough. After the first session of the Galactic Tribunal, the humans were taken to a separate chamber. The hall had walls that seemed to shift slightly, reflecting soft colors that changed with the movement of light. Jack Harper walked beside Lily Grant and Ben Carter. Their hearts were still racing from the reactions in the tribunal hall. The Axiom Core had recognized them in a way that no alien had expected. For the first time, humanity was not just on trial, it was being seen. Jack looked at the relic through the window of the chamber. Even from a distance, it pulsed with light, almost like it had a heartbeat. Ben had stayed behind for a moment after the first session, and Jack could tell he had seen something more than anyone else. "It's alive in a way we don't understand," Ben said quietly. "It doesn't just judge, it senses, it feels." Lily nodded. "That is why the aliens fear it. They are used to controlling power with laws and rules. They cannot accept something that acts on morality, that sees beyond their codes." Jack took a deep breath. Then we need to be ready. Whatever happens next, the relic is on our side, but the tribunal may not accept it. Some of them will try to sabotage it. Some will try to twist its judgment. We need to be careful. The chamber door opened, and a delegation of aliens entered. Their leader, a tall creature with silver scales and a long, flowing crest, spoke in a voice that resonated like metal. Humans, we have deliberated among ourselves. Some of us are unsettled. The Axiom Core's reaction to your presence is unusual. We do not understand why it favors you, but it is undeniable. You must explain further. Convince us why a species like yours should be trusted with the relic and the responsibilities it brings. Jack stepped forward. We do not expect perfection, he said. We are flawed, we make mistakes, but we do not stop trying. Justice is not about being perfect. Justice is about doing what is right, even when it is hard. That is what the relic sees in us. One of the delegates, a short, blue-skinned alien with 4 eyes, hissed in disbelief. You speak of justice, but your species has destroyed worlds. You have caused conflicts. You cannot claim to be just when your history is full of violence. Lily raised her hand. Yes, we have caused harm, but we have also fixed it when we could. Our wars ended with treaties that protected weaker systems. Our conflicts taught us lessons. We record our mistakes so that we do not repeat them. We act to protect life, not just for ourselves, but for others. That is why the Axiom Core responds to us. It recognizes intention and effort, not just results. The room grew quiet. The aliens were not used to this kind of honesty. Most civilizations only showed power, stability, and obedience to rules. They rarely admitted their flaws. Humanity's willingness to acknowledge mistakes and strive for justice was foreign to them. Suddenly, the Axiom Core began to glow brighter. Its light filled the chamber, reflecting off the walls in patterns that made it look like the stars themselves had entered the room. Jack could feel a warmth in his chest, a sense of understanding and recognition that was almost overwhelming. The relic did not speak with words, but it communicated directly through emotion and vision. It showed him moments from human history, the courage of those who stood against tyrants, the sacrifice of individuals to save others, and the countless acts of fairness that were often forgotten. Ben stepped closer to the window, his hand hovering near the relic. It's showing them, he whispered. It's showing the aliens what we are capable of. They can try to ignore it, but they will see it whether they want to or not. The silver-scaled leader leaned forward, his voice tense. Show us proof. Actions speak louder than words. Let us see what humans have done to earn this judgment. Jack nodded. Then we will show you, and you will see that we are capable of justice, even when it is difficult. Lily activated a holographic display from a small device she carried. Images and videos from Earth and human-controlled colonies appeared in the air, floating like small stars. The tribunal members leaned closer, their many eyes scanning the scenes. There were humans rescuing alien refugees from war zones, negotiating peace between hostile planets, and saving endangered species across multiple systems. Each image carried weight, proof of the human willingness to act for others, even when it was dangerous. The blue-skinned delegate hissed again. These are exceptions, not the rule. You cannot claim an entire species based on a few examples. Jack shook his head. You misunderstand. The Core does not see humans as perfect. It sees us as capable of choosing what is right. Every time a human chooses justice over power, every time we risk ourselves to protect others, it matters. That is why it recognizes us. The room fell silent again. Then the Core pulsed, and a sound like a low hum filled the air. It was not music, not language, not any sound that could be described in normal terms. It was the voice of truth, the voice of judgment, and it spoke directly to every creature in the room. The aliens recoiled slightly, feeling the weight of the relic's presence. Jack felt it in his chest as well, but it was different. He did not feel fear. He felt recognition. The Core was confirming that what he had said was true. One of the delegates spoke after a long pause. We have never seen a relic respond this way to a species. Never. What you say may be true, but we are unsure if the galaxy is ready for a species like yours. Power without restraint can be dangerous. Lily stepped forward. Power is not what matters, justice is. And humans have shown they can choose justice even when it costs them everything. That is the lesson the Core has learned. That is why it responds to us, not because we are strong, not because we are perfect, because we can be just. The delegates looked at each other, uncertain. Some of them whispered in their own languages, arguing softly. The core's light continued to pulse, growing brighter with each second. It was as if it were alive, waiting for the tribunal to understand what it already knew. Humanity had not asked for the relic to recognize them, but it had. And now, the galaxy had to face the truth. Ben took a deep breath. The core sees what we do when no one is watching. It sees the choices we make when power is offered and when fear is present. It sees how we act to protect others, not just ourselves. That is why it recognizes us. And that is why it must be allowed to judge freely. The silver-scaled leader frowned. And what if the core is wrong? What if it judges based on emotions or illusions? What if it gives you power you are not ready for? Jack met his gaze steadily. Then we will face the consequences, as humans always do. But the core does not judge based on strength or greed or fear. It judges based on justice. And we have chosen justice time and time again. We may fail, but we will keep trying. The room grew tense. The core's light now bathed the entire chamber, bright enough to make every surface gleam. It was impossible to look at it directly without blinking. Some delegates murmured in alarm. Others seemed mesmerized. Jack felt the warmth in his chest grow stronger. He could almost hear the pulse of the relic, steady and certain. It knew what it was doing. It knew what it had found in humanity. Suddenly, the core projected a vision into the chamber. The images were larger now, showing humans on distant colonies, helping alien species rebuild their homes, protecting lives during disasters, and even stopping corrupt leaders from exploiting entire planets. The delegates gasped as they saw humans risking their lives for the sake of others, often without recognition or reward. The core highlighted moments of courage, fairness, and sacrifice, making them undeniable. The blue-skinned delegate hissed again, but this time less angrily. These actions, they are not like our own. We maintain order but rarely act for the sake of others. Humans fight for what is right. Jack nodded. That is what makes us human. That is what the core sees. It does not reward perfection. It recognizes the ability to act justly, to protect others even when it is dangerous, to choose morality over convenience. That is why it responds to us. The silver-scaled leader looked at Jack, his expression unreadable. If the core truly recognizes this, then perhaps we have judged too quickly, but the galaxy is cautious. We cannot allow reckless behavior even if it is well-intentioned. Lily stepped forward. We are not asking for perfection. We are asking for a chance to show that humanity can act as custodians of justice. The core has judged us. Now you must decide if you will accept that judgment. The chamber was silent again. The delegates whispered to each other, some still fearful, some clearly impressed. The core's light dimmed slightly, as if it were waiting for the final decision. Jack could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. Humanity had never faced such scrutiny, such doubt, or such recognition before, and yet he felt a quiet confidence. The core had seen the truth. Humanity's ability to act justly, to choose morality over power, could not be denied. Finally, the silver-scaled leader spoke again. We will deliberate further. The core has shown us something unexpected. Your species may not be as dangerous as we believed. We will consider its judgment carefully. Jack exhaled, feeling a mixture of relief and tension. This was only part of the battle. The tribunal had not yet fully accepted humanity, but the Axiom Core had made its choice clear. Humans were recognized not for their power, not for their technology, but for their ability to act justly, even in difficult circumstances. As the humans were escorted back to their quarters, Jack glanced at Lily and Ben. This is just the beginning, he said. The core has acknowledged us, but the real challenge is to convince the galaxy. Some will accept it, some will fight it, and some will never understand. Lily nodded. We have already started changing their perception. That is more than most species ever get. Now we must be careful, but also ready to act when the time comes. Ben stayed quiet for a moment, staring out at the stars beyond the chamber window. The core sees the truth, he said softly, and the galaxy will have to face it whether it wants to or not. Jack put a hand on Ben's shoulder. Then we make sure we are ready for whatever comes next. The core has given us a chance. We cannot waste it. Outside, the stars burned cold and distant, but the humans felt something different. They felt purpose. They felt recognition. They felt the quiet knowledge that, no matter what the galaxy thought, the Axiom Core had chosen them. And that choice carried power, responsibility, and hope. The chamber doors closed behind them, and for the first time since the trial began, humanity had a small, shining victory. The tribunal would continue to question, to doubt, and to fear, but the core had spoken. Humanity was no longer just a species on trial. It was a species that had been seen, understood, and recognized for what it could truly be, capable of justice, courage, and compassion. The Galactic Tribunal was in session again, but this time the tension in the air was almost unbearable. Jack Harper, Lily Grant, and Ben Carter walked into the hall, their steps echoing against the polished metal floor. The Axiom core glowed faintly on its pedestal, its light steady, as if it were breathing calmly in the midst of a storm. The aliens were waiting, and Jack could feel their unease. The tribunal members sat in their high chairs, whispering among themselves. Some were clearly fascinated by what they had seen from the core, while others looked worried, their eyes darting to each other as though seeking reassurance. The silver-scaled leader rose and spoke, his voice resonating through the hall. "Humans, your species has surprised us. The core has judged you in a way we did not anticipate. Many of us are still uncertain. Some delegates have expressed concern that you might manipulate the relic, or that its judgment might be flawed." Jack stepped forward, keeping his voice steady. "We do not manipulate the core. It does not respond to lies or deception. It sees truth and intention in choices. We are here to show what humans are capable of, not to trick anyone." A short, many-eyed alien hissed angrily. "But what if your intentions are selfish? You humans act for yourselves and you call it justice. That is how your species has always behaved. How do we know this is not another trick?" Lily raised her hand. "We admit our flaws, we do not claim perfection, but we act to help others even when it costs us. That is what the core sees. It does not measure power or greed. It measures the ability to choose what is right, even against fear or danger." The core began to glow brighter, sending waves of light across the hall. It pulsed with energy, and Jack could feel it resonating inside him. The relic did not need to speak. It communicated through vision and feeling. Images appeared, floating in the air above the pedestal. The tribunal gasped as they watched humans across the galaxy risking their lives to save others. There were humans on a water planet helping an alien civilization rebuild their homes after a flood. Humans were seen preventing corrupt leaders from exploiting a colony, even at great personal risk. Humans were helping settle conflicts between hostile species, sometimes negotiating peace when alien diplomats had failed. Every scene was proof of sacrifice, courage, and fairness. Some aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They had never seen a species act with such moral courage, with the willingness to risk everything for justice. Their own civilizations prized order and stability, but rarely showed such care for others, especially other species. The silver-scaled leader spoke again. "These acts, they are impressive, but a few examples do not make a species just. Your history is also full of war, conflict, and destruction. How do you explain that?" Jack held his head high. "We do not deny it. Humanity has made mistakes. We have fought wars, we have caused harm, but we have always tried to correct our mistakes, to learn from them, and to act more fairly the next time. Justice is not about never failing. It is about choosing to do what is right, even when it is difficult." A murmur ran through the tribunal. Some delegates nodded slowly, while others whispered angrily. The blue-skinned delegate with 4 eyes hissed again. "You speak well, but words are easy. The core may recognize something in you, but the galaxy cannot be led by hope alone." "Proof is needed." Ben stepped forward. "Then we will provide it. The core is proof. It sees what we do when no one is watching. It sees our choices in moments of danger and fear. It recognizes our attempts to act justly even when it costs us. That is the proof you seek." The core pulsed and projected another set of visions. This time, they were closer to the present. Delegates saw humans intervening when alien systems were threatened by natural disasters. They saw humans helping other species evacuate when a star was going nova. They saw humans refusing bribes, risking their careers and even their lives to stop corruption and oppression. Some of the aliens whispered to each other, clearly unsettled. They had expected chaos and recklessness from humans, but instead they were seeing courage, fairness, and moral strength that no other species in the galaxy seemed to show so openly. The silver-scaled leader frowned. "You show impressive deeds. But some delegates argue that your species is unpredictable. You do not follow rules. How can we trust you with the relic and the responsibilities it brings?" Lily stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "We do not blindly follow rules, we follow what is right." Other species value order over fairness, stability over justice. We value justice. That is why the core responds to us. It sees our choices, our intentions, and our courage. We do not act recklessly for the sake of chaos. We act to do what is right. A group of delegates whispered among themselves. Some seemed impressed, but others looked fearful. A delegate with long, flowing tentacles and glowing eyes spoke finally. There are those among us who do not wish humanity to succeed. They fear what the core sees. Some believe humans are too unpredictable. They may try to sabotage your position or the relic itself. You must be cautious. Jack nodded. We expected resistance. Some will never accept us, but we will not fail. The core has recognized our intent. That recognition cannot be ignored. We must be ready for attempts to undermine us. Suddenly, a disturbance erupted in the tribunal. A faction of delegates moved toward the pedestal, whispering urgently to each other. Some had clearly plotted against humanity from the start. Jack stepped forward, placing himself between the humans and the Axiom core. Lily and Ben flanked him. The silver-scaled leader called out, "Stop! We will not allow rash actions. You may fear humans, but the core's judgment must be respected. Do not act against it without cause." But the faction ignored him. They tried to interfere with the relic, moving strange devices toward it, devices designed to disrupt its energy. Jack felt a surge of panic. He knew that if the core was damaged or distracted, humanity's chance could be lost forever. Ben acted quickly. He ran toward the pedestal, overriding the alien devices with his engineering tools. Sparks flew, and the room filled with energy as Ben connected to the relic's interface. He shouted to Jack and Lily, "Help me stabilize it. If this fails, everything fails." Jack grabbed a control panel and worked quickly, following Ben's instructions. Lily monitored the energy flow, keeping track of the core's responses. The alien faction hissed and shouted, but the core pulsed brighter, as if aware of the threat. Then something remarkable happened. The core's light expanded, filling the entire hall. It projected visions into the minds of the interfering delegates. They saw humans risking their lives to save others, protecting weak species and standing against corruption. They saw the truth of humanity's intent, and the message was undeniable. Some of the delegates staggered back, shaken by the vision. Others tried to resist, but the core's judgment was clear. Humanity acted for justice, not for power. Humanity risked everything to protect others. Humanity had chosen morality over fear countless times across countless worlds. The silver-scaled leader stepped forward, raising his voice. "Enough! The core has judged. You may not understand it, but its recognition is clear. Humanity is not perfect, but it is capable of justice. Any attempt to undermine the relic or humanity's position will be considered a grave offense." The faction that had tried to sabotage the core recoiled, clearly defeated. The hall fell silent. The core glowed gently now, as if satisfied that the threat had passed. Jack felt a deep sense of relief. Ben looked exhausted but proud. Lily smiled faintly, her eyes shining with hope. The silver-scaled leader turned to the rest of the tribunal. "The evidence is undeniable. The core has recognized humanity's intent and capacity for justice. We must accept that our judgment cannot ignore this. Humanity has a role to play, whether we like it or not." The room was quiet for a long moment. Then, slowly, the murmurs grew louder. Some delegates argued quietly, but most seemed convinced. The core's recognition was undeniable. It had chosen humanity, not for strength, not for conquest, but for justice. Jack looked at Lily and Ben. "This is only part of the challenge," he said. "Some may accept us, some may still fear us, and some may never understand. But the core has given us a chance. We cannot waste it." Lily nodded. "We have shown them what we are capable of. Now we must be ready to act when the time comes. Some will try to resist. Some will plot against us, but the truth is on our side." Ben stayed quiet for a moment, staring at the glowing relic. "It knows us," he whispered. "Not as perfect, not as innocent, but as capable of justice. That is all that matters." The humans left the chamber with a sense of cautious optimism. They had survived the attack on the core. They had shown the tribunal that humanity was not only recognized, but also capable of standing up for what was right. The challenge was far from over, but for the first time they felt a spark of hope. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant, but the humans felt something different. They felt purpose. They felt recognition. They felt the quiet knowledge that, no matter what the galaxy thought, the Axiom core had chosen them. And that choice carried power, responsibility, and hope. Jack, Lily, and Ben knew that the next sessions of the tribunal would be even harder. Some delegates would still resist. Some would plot in secret, and some might even try to destroy the core if they could. But humanity had proven something no other species had. They had been judged by the Relic and recognized not for perfection, but for their capacity for justice. Jack looked at the core one last time before leaving. Its light pulsed gently, as if it were alive and aware. He knew that the Relic had seen the truth of humanity, and now the galaxy would have to face it. The humans walked out into the corridor, their steps echoing softly against the walls. The stars outside seemed brighter than before, filled with possibilities. Humanity's journey was only beginning, but the core's recognition had opened a door that could never be closed. They had been seen, understood, and acknowledged, and that acknowledgement was stronger than any fear the galaxy could feel. Jack, Lily, and Ben walked in silence, each thinking of what was to come. The tribunal would continue to debate, some would resist, but the truth had been revealed. Humanity had been chosen for what it could do, not for what it had done. And that choice would change the galaxy forever. The Galactic Tribunal had gathered again, the vast hall quieter than ever before. Jack Harper, Lily Grant, and Ben Carter walked toward the Axiom core, their footsteps echoing across the polished floor. The core pulsed gently on its pedestal, glowing with a calm, steady light. It had survived the attempt to sabotage it, and now its judgment had become the center of attention. The aliens were tense, unsure how to respond. Some whispered in fear, others stared in awe. The silver-scaled leader rose, his voice firm. Humans, the tribunal has seen the power of your relic and the truth of its judgment. The core recognizes your capacity for justice, but understanding that truth and accepting it are not the same. The galaxy is cautious. Some still question your intentions, others fear what you might do with this recognition. Jack stepped forward, keeping his voice steady. We do not ask for blind trust, we ask for the chance to prove ourselves. The core has seen what we do when no one else watches. It has judged our intent, and it recognizes that humanity can act with fairness, courage, and compassion. The core pulsed brighter. Images of human actions appeared above the pedestal, projected in soft, glowing light. Delegates could see humans helping alien colonies rebuild after disasters, stopping corruption in far-off systems, protecting endangered species, and mediating disputes between hostile civilizations. Each scene showed humans risking their lives for others. The tribunal members murmured, some unable to hide their surprise. A delegate with flowing tentacles spoke first. These actions, they are undeniable. Your species is capable of remarkable courage and fairness. But what of your failures? What of the times you caused chaos and destruction? How do we know your intent will always be just? Lily took a deep breath. We do not claim to be perfect. We have made mistakes and we will make more, but we do not stop trying. We do not ignore injustice. The core does not see us as flawless. It sees our ability to choose what is right. That is what matters. That is what defines us as humans. Some delegates whispered among themselves, clearly impressed. Others still looked uncertain. A small, many-eyed alien hissed, "But what of power? You will have access to technologies and knowledge that others fear. How do we know you will not misuse it?" Jack met its gaze. "We will not misuse it. The core would not allow it. And we have proven that we act not for ourselves, but for justice. Our history shows it. We protect others even when it costs us. That is our nature. We are not perfect, but we are capable of doing what is right, and we will continue to choose that path." The core pulsed again, and this time its light filled the entire hall, bathing every delegate in warmth and clarity. They could feel the truth of Jack's words through the relic. They could see the images of humanity's sacrifices and acts of fairness. Even those who resisted, who had planned to sabotage the humans, could not deny the evidence. The core had judged and recognized humanity's intent. The silver-scaled leader raised his voice again. The core has spoken. It recognizes humanity's capacity for justice. It has judged your species capable of moral courage and fairness. Its recognition cannot be ignored. The tribunal must accept this judgment. A murmur ran through the hall. Some delegates nodded slowly, still cautious but acknowledging the truth. Others whispered angrily, unwilling to fully accept humanity's position. A delegate with crystalline skin spoke, its voice ringing like metal. "We cannot deny the core's judgment. We have witnessed its response. Humanity is not perfect, but it is capable of justice. This cannot be ignored." Jack felt a surge of hope. The tribunal was beginning to accept the Corps' judgment. Humanity was no longer just accused of recklessness or chaos. They were being seen for what they truly were, a species capable of courage, fairness, and moral action. Lily stepped forward. We do not seek power for ourselves. We seek the chance to act as mediators, protectors, and reformers. The galaxy needs balance, and humans can help achieve it. We are not perfect, but we are willing to act for justice wherever it is needed. The silver-scaled leader paused, considering her words carefully. Then he nodded. Very well. The tribunal has considered the evidence and the judgment of the Axiom Core. Humanity is not guilty of recklessness or immorality. Humanity is recognized as a species capable of justice. It is now granted the rights and responsibilities of participation in the governance of the galaxy. A wave of relief swept over the humans. Jack felt the tension in his chest ease slightly. Lily's eyes shone with pride, and Ben let out a low whistle of disbelief. Humanity had been cleared. Humanity had been recognized, and the Axiom Core had confirmed what no alien tribunal alone could have proven, that humans were capable of acting with justice, even against fear and danger. Some delegates, still wary, raised objections. This decision, it could be dangerous. Humans are unpredictable. They may act outside of reason even when trying to be just. What if their actions cause instability? Jack stepped forward again. Unpredictability is not a flaw if it comes from moral courage. We may act differently than others, but we act with conscience. The galaxy may not always understand us, but our intent is clear. We act to protect, to balance, and to uphold justice. That is what makes us human. That is what the Core has recognized. The Core pulsed strongly, and for a moment the light seemed to touch each delegate personally. They could feel the truth of Jack's words through the Relic, see the countless examples of human courage, and understand the Core's judgment. Even the most skeptical delegates could not ignore it. The silver-scaled leader spoke finally. The Core has judged. Its recognition of humanity cannot be denied. Humanity is no longer on trial. Humanity is recognized. It has the right to participate in the governance of the galaxy, to act as mediators and protectors wherever justice is required. Let this be the verdict of the tribunal. The room fell silent, a mix of awe and relief filling the air. Jack, Lily, and Ben exchanged glances, understanding the magnitude of what had just happened. Humanity had been recognized not for perfection, but for its ability to choose justice, to act morally even when it was dangerous, and to protect others without expectation of reward. Outside the tribunal hall, the stars burned brightly. Jack looked at them and felt a sense of purpose he had never experienced before. Humanity had a chance to change the galaxy, not through conquest, not through power, but through justice. Lily spoke softly. We have been given an opportunity, Jack. The Core has seen what we are capable of. Now the galaxy must see it too. Ben nodded. And we will show them we cannot waste this chance. The Core chose us for a reason. We must live up to it. The humans returned to their quarters, exhausted but filled with hope. They had survived the tribunal, faced opposition, and proven their worth. The Core had recognized humanity for what it truly was, a species capable of moral courage and fairness. In the following days, the tribunal delegates began to adjust. Some slowly embraced humanity's role, others remained wary, but the Core's recognition could not be ignored. Humanity was now a part of galactic governance, a species recognized not for dominance, but for justice. Jack, Lily, and Ben began meeting with alien leaders from different systems. They discussed ways to protect weaker civilizations, prevent corruption, and maintain balance across the galaxy. The Core provided guidance, projecting visions of moral dilemmas and potential outcomes. Humanity acted not for power, but for fairness and protection, using its unique perspective to mediate conflicts and save lives. Even the skeptical delegates began to notice the difference. Where other species acted out of fear or tradition, humans acted out of conscience. Where other species sought stability at any cost, humans sought justice, even when it was difficult or risky. The galaxy began to see what the Core had recognized all along. Humans were different, but in a way that could bring hope and balance. Ben often stayed near the Core, studying its energy and patterns. It chose us for a reason, he said. It saw our potential to act justly, and now we must live up to that potential. Lily added, and we will. We have the chance to prove that justice can guide even the most dangerous species, even across the stars. Humanity has a role to play, and we cannot fail. Jack looked out at the stars from the tribunal balcony. "We are not perfect," he said. "We will make mistakes. But we will always try to do what is right. The Corps recognized that, and now the galaxy must see it too. That is our mission." Over time, humans became known as protectors and mediators in the galaxy. They were respected not for their strength, but for their willingness to act for justice, even when it was dangerous. The Axiom Core remained with them, a symbol of recognition and guidance, a reminder of the day humanity was judged and chosen. Some alien species still doubted, but most came to understand that humans acted differently. They were willing to risk themselves for others. They were willing to challenge injustice, even when it was inconvenient. They were not perfect, but they were just. And in a galaxy that often valued order over fairness, that was a rare and powerful gift. Jack, Lily, and Ben stood together, looking at the core. It pulsed gently, as if acknowledging their resolve. Humanity had been tested, judged, and recognized. Now it was up to them to live up to that recognition, to act as the guardians of justice the galaxy had never seen before. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter than ever. Humanity had a chance to change the galaxy, not with power or force, but with courage, fairness, and moral strength. The Corps had chosen them, and the galaxy would never forget it. Jack whispered quietly, almost to himself, "We are humans. We are not perfect, but we are just." "And that is enough to make a difference," Lily smiled. "It is more than enough. It is everything." Ben nodded. "Then let's show the galaxy what it means to be human." And with that, humanity stepped forward into a future full of challenges, dangers, and possibilities. They were no longer on trial. They had been recognized. They had been chosen, and they would not fail. The Axiom Core pulsed one last time that day, as if satisfied. Humanity's judgment was complete. The galaxy had been forced to see the truth. Humans were not only capable of survival, but of greatness through justice, courage, and compassion. And from that day forward, humans were no longer just newcomers to the stars. They were guardians of justice, recognized by an ancient power and by the galaxy itself.